Welcome to PHP Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're here for another Monday mini-sode.
Yeah, Monday mini.
And this one's a little different. This one's actually geared more for people that are on the fence about reselling, or maybe those of you that have kind of like stepped away from reselling, or maybe you just need, a motivation, right? Maybe you've been reselling for a while and you're just like, I don't know about reselling. And I got to tell you, there's no better time than now to resell. We just want to quickly share some of those reasons as to why now.
Yeah.
Why now?
And that's kind of an interesting thing for us to say too, because if you've listened to our previous podcasts, like we can sound doom and gloom sometimes because there are things that make it harder. Costs have gone up, it's harder to sell things. The economy is rough. However, there's still a lot of benefits. There's still a lot of really good things. And so we want to focus on those. And it right now, I would say it's far easier to start reselling and to be successful at reselling than it really ever has been before. And there's a lot of reasons for that. We've talked about in the past, like even things like cell phones and having internet access, that has made it a lot easier. But the amount of knowledge that's just out there, whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're listening to a podcast like Resell Podcast, there's so much free information. I mean, we're talking people pay a lot of money to go to college to get information, and so much of what they pay for has nothing to do with the job that they're going to do. And some of it does. And then most of what they end up learning is on the job anyways. Think about how much is out there that you can get for free. And if you're wanting to pay to like accelerate your learning process and like get the most important tips at the fastest speed and just get Bellows, like you can pay for those things. But there's just so many opportunities to get started, to figure out how to start a store, to figure out what items you should be selling. Things are cheaper now. There's just so many things that make it easier to start today than it ever was before.
Yeah. And along with that, there's so many platforms, right? Real quick, right? So you might be like, eBay's a little tough. Mercari's pretty easy. Poshmark is pretty easy, right? You could do whatnot. I mean, you got to apply and there's a whole thing you got to go through. But, Facebook Marketplace. I mean, there's so many places that you can resell. And so that's why I think it's easier. Where back in the day, the game was like eBay, Craigslist, pretty much it. Now you got like OfferUp. I've mentioned so many different ones. There's so much opportunity now. Along with the opportunity, there's so many more opportunities to source, right? The thrift store is still there. I mean, we talk about how it's tough, but a lot of you are still getting a lot of great scores at thrift stores. Bins, even though they're more popular and it's a lot more crowded, there's a lot more bins areas. I don't know what you call them, bin stores that are open. Garage sales. There's retail arbitrage. There's wholesale that you can buy. There's resellers selling stuff. I mean, you name it, you can find inventory, right? It's not like the days in the past where there was only like a couple places you could source. I mean, there's so many now. They all have with their different, tier levels of cost, but there's always an opportunity to source.
That's good. I mean, even like we've talked about in the past, like even buying from other resellers, which is really, you got to be careful. There's a lot involved in that. But if you're just getting started, you can kind of get like almost a starter pack. There's just so many ways you can get started. And one of the things that's really beneficial is right now, more than ever, there are people buying things online. Even when we started the podcast, most people at that point had gotten to Amazon Prime, but I still knew a lot of people who weren't paying for Amazon Prime even. Mm-hmm. And now it's just normal. And since we've gone through 2020, even more people have moved to, curbside pickup. I'm ordering things from Walmart, Target, all of those places have gotten better at selling online. They realized that was a market, and not just new things, but the secondhand market continues to grow for lots of reasons. There's the ecological reason. There's people who want to be conscious of the environment. There's the trend reason, people trying to, buy the trendy vintage stuff. You can wear the stuff from the mall that everybody has, or you can get that unique snapback hat that makes you look cool. And those things are in. And then there's the economic reason of, hey, times are just getting hard right now, and I need a new pair of boots for work, and I can spend the $150 to get them new, or I can get them for $60 on eBay, and they're lightly used, and I'm going to get another year out of them, and that's what I can afford right now, and that's the option I'm going to take. More and more people that I know are becoming more frugal and buying secondhand because things are tough, and so that's an opportunity for resellers. That also means people are expecting lower prices, so we're saying this is the best time to get started. Not that it's necessarily the most profitable, but there's so many opportunities. And part of that is just so many more people are turning to places like eBay and Depop and OfferUp and whatnot and various places online. Whereas before, the number of people, I think it was only collectors.
Yeah.
Like collectors were on eBay, like looking for baseball cards and looking for Transformer toys and looking for, you know what I mean? Like that was the thing people were going to eBay for. And now people go to eBay for all kinds of stuff.
That was funny. I was at an event this past week, and a lot of people were trying to market themselves, and this guy had a really snazzy suit, and he came up to me and introduced himself. I'm like, hey, who are you? Where are you from? He's like, I'm some so-and-so. I'm just trying to, connect with people here. And I said, that's a really sharp suit. Right. And I'm thinking he's going to say, hey, thanks, but he found out I was an eBay seller. And he's like, hey, guess what? I got this on eBay. I'm like, what? Like that looked like, there's different tier levels of suits, right? Right. One thing
off the rack that, doesn't quite fit you right.
Yeah. Like if you, you got to be tailored. Like, that's one thing I didn't learn until after I got out of my nine, after being an educator.
Yeah. I didn't want to ever bring it up, but,
dude, I had no idea that like people paid attention to that.
Yeah. I mean, looks is like the number one thing people look at, like their first impression. Yeah.
Thanks. So if your
shirt doesn't fit your body, I mean, that's the thing is, if you could be I'm not saying it didn't always fit your body.
I didn't have tailored suits though when I was a vice principal.
Yeah. So if it doesn't really matter, I mean, it matters your physical shape, like people care about that thing.
Understood.
But you can be extremely physically fit and wear something that makes you look sloppy, and you can be overweight and wear something that makes you look sloppy, or you can be either of those things and wear something that fits your body really well. Yeah. And people care about those things. And so, the fact that you can go to eBay and buy those things and brands too, like people care about brands. Like if you're just wearing a regular jacket, or if you're wearing the Patagonia jacket, that's going to make a certain group of people like, oh, that's cool. He's part of us. He's in the in group. Well,
this guy, I mean, he bought on eBay. Obviously he got it tailored from, his local tailor, but I was impressed, And so, yes, a lot of people are going to eBay, and especially in this economy, people are shopping online. Now, due to the fact that we're in this downturn economy right now, it's interesting because months ago, I would talk about that unemployment's going to rise and there's going to be layoffs, and I got a lot of flack for it. But if you look at economic cycles, that's how it works, right? Inflation first hits, right? And then once inflation hits, it takes a little bit of time for things to catch up. And eventually, as the markets begin to go down, people begin to lose jobs. And like right now, I go on TikTok, and I think it's because Meta, recently laid off a bunch of people, Twitter, and you get all these companies, but you don't know there's nothing guaranteed in this economy. There's even if it was a good economy, there is nothing guaranteed. Everybody's replaceable. Everybody's dispensable. And you might say, no, not me. I've made myself invaluable. I'm telling you, you may be invaluable, but guess what? They're going to figure out how to make up for your loss pretty quick. And so I encourage people to resell because it's always good to have another stream of income. You just never know. Even being familiar with how to do it. Like, and this is going to be our last point eventually here, but, you may be at a place where, hey, I'm making really good money. I don't want to spend a lot of time reselling. That's okay. Sell a few things, right? Have that store going, have that feedback going, because in case anything happens, or let's say your car breaks down and you guys are short on money now because your groceries have gone up in cost, your daycare's gone up in cost. At least you have reselling that can supplement and with that extra income stream. Yeah,
I like to use the term durable household in the sense of, and there's the non-PG version of this, but we'll give the PG version, like you want to have a durable household in the sense that you've got the forget you money, right? Yeah. Where you can basically say, where if they want to fire you, or if a company asks you to do something that you have an ethical issue with, where you can be okay. Like maybe you're going to struggle a little bit, but you've created a savings because of your side hustle, because of your resell. You've been able to build up several months of savings, and you have at least some source of income coming in, and you've learned some, tools of the trade that you can use for other businesses. And there's so many ways that it helps you to be able to have that extra income, because then you're not like lost. Like if you lose a job, but you know that, hey, I can make up at least a quarter of my salary just from reselling that I lost this job, you're going to be less stressed than if you're like, now you're at zero. Mm-hmm. It just provides a little bit of freedom, and it can really give you that cushion that you need. And that kind of goes to this next point of it's something you can turn on and off. if you got a 9 to 5, you can't just say, you know what, I'm planning on going on vacation, or you know what, I've been really wise and frugal and I've been able to save up a bunch of money and I've got, I'm just not coming into work for the next 3 weeks. Like you cannot do that at a 9 to 5 and keep your job.
Yeah.
You're gone. So that flexibility that you get and the ability to say, I've got a big move coming up, I've had a major family incident happen, I can turn this off. And it's easier to do if you're part-time, but even if you're full-time, the flexibility of reselling can kind of allow you to say, well, I need to take the next week off from shipping. And so I'm not gonna be able to sell stuff for the next week. And maybe I can only source half as much as I've been sourcing because I'm a health condition or whatever's happening. But you can go pause, put things on hold, or slow down, just kind of put on the brakes on what you're doing. And then when time is better for you, ramp it up and you're good to go. So that's not something you can do with a 9 to 5. I mean, there's that trend going on of the silent quitting. Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
More people are just doing less and less at work until basically they're fired.
That's always been a thing though.
Yeah, it has for sure. But you can't really do that in the 9 to 5 job. But when you've got the side hustle reselling, you can put it on hold. You can say, you know, I'm gonna pause for a little bit. I'm just gonna put a little bit less.
You could do that at your 9 to 5 now. Since you got the side hustle, you can quietly quit.
I don't recommend that because I'm a big firm believer of like you're getting paid to do something, do what you're getting paid to do. Like have some integrity. But if you're in that's why you want to have that ability to say like if you're in a position where your work is, I mean, my wife was in that position. She was working at a corporate job. She ended up leaving full-time work and going to just helping me side hustle about 6 months earlier than our plan was, because she was just getting harassed at work. It was just terrible work environment. And because we were reselling, we were able to say, we can do this. You can stay home.
And you get, again, going back to the initial, thing that we said, you can go, I really enjoy this reselling, especially part-time, like you said. But at this time, like I kind of want to spend more time doing this, and that's okay. You can come back and your store's still there, right? As long as you're being consistent about your shipping when things sell, as long as, every once in a while you're listening, you can always turn the water spout on and off. If you want to scale up for Q4, you can do that. And even full time, you can decide, I'm at this certain level and I'm okay at this level because this level that I'm at allows me time with my family without having, to sacrifice any more hours. But you know what? Right now, for this next year, I think I want to level it up because I have some things coming up that I want to provide for my family. I'm just going to turn on that spout and work some more and source some more, and you can make it happen. So there's a beauty in the fact that in reselling, you can turn things on and off. So hopefully this episode encouraged you, whether you're on the fence about reselling, whether you're a new reseller, or whether you've been reselling for years and you kind of were wondering, like, do I want to keep going? Definitely now is the best time to resell. And with that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling leads.
Peace.